Hi everyone, thank you for joining our Horticulture Live Q&A. I'm going to now hand it over to Jeff, our lovely lecturer, to answer any of your questions.
Hi, so my name's Jeff Guy. I'm the section manager for the land-based industries department of the college, which includes the horticulture subject area. Just to give you a brief overview of what we teach level 2 and 3 horticulture courses, as well as Royal Horticultural Society short courses. And you know, we deliver those in a fantastic land-based setting. We've got industry class glasshouses and propagation facilities that students get to use on whatever, you know, whether it's level 2, level 3 or a short horticulture course. They have access to that, as well as to our grounds, and you know, those facilities and resources really are sort of, you know, world class. They're really good. They're the kind of things you'd see on a larger scale in industry, but we know you get an awful lot of use of those. The courses obviously have some degree of theory as well as practical work. There is an exam or a couple of exams to do on the level 3 course. There's exams in soil science and contemporary issues and professional working practices, the kind of things that you'd expect in any land-based industry, some underpinning theoretical knowledge, but then an awful lot of practical opportunities as well to work within the grounds and the college estate, and more, you know, more broadly with projects off-site as well. So yeah, an awful lot of things to get involved with. Last academic year, not so long ago, students went off to visit the kind of places you might end up employed in the sort of horticulture industry, places like Chatsworth House, looking at the grounds there, the grounds at other places like Woburn Abbey, and there's an awful lot of jobs if you were to look online today. Organisations like the National Trust, English Heritage, places like that, looking at the care of and development of the grounds of heritage sites, stately homes, that sort of thing, and obviously lots of opportunities for self-employment as well in landscaping and design and horticulture, gardening, that sort of thing. So yeah, that's a bit of an overview of the courses. So yeah, happy to take any questions and give out any more specific information if that would be helpful.
So we've got a question. When does the course start?
So the enrolment is the 26th, or sort of pre-enrolment is the 26th for land-based courses. So you'd need to have applied by then, and the 26th would just be one day to come in. We check your certificates for your current qualifications, that sort of thing. That's for the full-time courses, and then the course properly would start the following week on the 31st of August. For the shorter courses, the RHS courses, that'd be a case of just inquiring about those particularly. They start normally the week after the full-time courses.
Okay. Is there anything I can do to prepare for the course?
Well, applying. If you haven't applied to prepare for the course, you should definitely apply. And doing some sort of background reading and some work experience, if possible, within the industry. Presumably you have an interest in horticulture, you might do some gardening yourself at home, but trying to get some work experience in a more commercial setting or industry setting, to see the kind of work that you can expect after the course, because ultimately that's what you want to study it for, so you can move into the industry or to you know, potentially onto higher education as well. So make sure, if it's at all possible, that you look for opportunities to experience that sort of work, so that, you know, you're sure it's for you. and so that you can come to college a bit more prepared as well, so that some of the practical skills that you need to be learning don't come as so much of a shock to you. Not that they're shocking, but obviously the more practice you get, the better prepared you will be. Learning plant names as well is a good start as well. If you get some guidebooks, get some. I mean, the internet's useful for that nowadays as well, but nothing quite beats a pocket guide to go and have a walk around your garden or your local park or what have you, and practice plant tree identification. The horticulture courses, it's broader than, you know, gardening, like sort of back gardens. There's an awful lot of plant ID required. You know, if you're going to work for a big stately home or do garden design or things like that, you're going to need to have that sort of information just off the top of your head. So practicing it straight away is really important. Get yourself a couple of guidebooks. They don't have to be expensive. Go for some walks around parks, gardens, learn how to identify trees. There's a whole module on tree and shrub pruning and care. So we're not just talking sort of flowers and garden plants. Tree ID, shrub ID, plant ID. Try and get as much advanced practice on that as you possibly can.
Okay. And what happens if I don't pass my GCSE Maths and English?
So on the level 3 course, to get a place on the course, you really ideally you need to have passed them both. The timetables do allow for you to sit one alongside your horticulture course. So if you fail one or the other, it's not the end of the world. There will be an opportunity for you to resit. If you fail both of them, then we'd probably need to talk about you starting on a level 2 course, completing that and getting your grades up during a 1-year level 2 course, and then progressing to level 3. So it's not the end of the world. There are opportunities to resit, and there are alternative courses that would allow you a bit more time to resit if you needed to resit them both.
Okay. What type of facilities and equipment do you have?
So facilities, I mentioned the glass houses earlier. So those are sort of one of our, I suppose, flagship horticultural resources. They really are fantastic. I think there's a sort of a virtual tour online, is that people can look at, that gives them a bit of a glimpse of the glass house. Am I correct in?
Yeah, so we've got a virtual tour which you can have a look at. We've also got a campus tour for Brooksby in the next couple of weeks, so tune in for that, and you can sign up on our website for that.
So the glass houses are really one of the focal points, but the grounds themselves as well. As a land-based college, we're really fortunate that we have the historical grounds of the old hall at Brooksby, what was the Admiral Beattie's estate. So there's a fantastic collection of trees and ornamental plants and ornamental landscape features like ponds and what have you that the horticulture students get involved with. So the grounds themselves, the glass houses, the college farm as well, with the focus on soil science and plant science that is part of the horticulture courses, which is really important in the land-based industries as a whole at the moment. You have access to the college farm as well, to student fields to learn about cultivating crops, managing and caring for soil, and observing the growth of the crops and the crops that are grown on the college farm. So you can be involved in all of that. We've got an agroforestry project that's running at the college farm as well at the moment, which all the land-based students have been involved with it to one extent or another, horticulture students amongst them, where students have been involved in planting up about 21 acres as a silvopastoral agroforestry system where you'll have livestock grazing between trees, and horticulture students have been involved in sort of choosing what trees get planted there and involved in that. So the grounds, the farm, the glass houses are fantastic resources. We've got as well all the equipment you would expect from miniature tractors and towed equipment for caring for sports pitches, lawns, all that sort of thing, and the handheld, the chainsaws and the hand tools, and so everything you would need to give yourselves a grounding in the industry and equip you with the skills to operate, more or less any equipment you would need to starting out a career in horticulture.
Is there a kit or a uniform?
Not as such. You should definitely have sturdy outdoor clothes. They're steel toe cap boots because you'll potentially be operating machinery. You'll want gloves because you'll be handling plant materials and things. Just from a personal protective equipment perspective, gloves and boots for sure. You'll want some decent waterproofs because, as with any land-based industry, you will be outside no matter what the weather. It's just part of the job. So decent set of waterproofs. If you're in, say, a machinery practical, you'd be expected to wear overalls, but there will be some practicals where overalls aren't practical. In the greenhouses it can get fairly warm, so you should have overalls. They won't necessarily be required 100% of the time, but you should certainly have them available. Clothes that you can wear outdoors and be comfortable and warm in is the key thing.
Okay. Sort of like trips on the course?
Trips. So recently students have gone to Chatsworth House, to Woburn Abbey, Kew Gardens in London. The last couple of years have been a bit difficult with trips for obvious reasons, but that's the sort of thing you can expect. We are looking at the potential, as soon as travel restrictions and sort of just sensible precautions allow, of looking at some sort of overnight study trips and things in the future. So that might be something to look forward to as the situation allows it. But sort of National Trust estates, Chatsworth, Woburn, those are sort of fairly decent examples of the kind of places you'll end up on trips, but as more local places as well within the county to look at nursery crops and various things.
And can I see the course if I require additional learning support?
Yes, of course. So we, as long as you sort of declare that through your application and an interview, we have a learning support team dedicated to providing that support. So we can put that in place. Just when you have an interview, just tell us what learning support you've received before. We'll put you in touch with the learning support team, and they will take it from there and get everything arranged that's required.
And where can this course lead to in terms of career prospects?
So, like I mentioned a bit earlier, there's quite a lot of opportunities. If you were to look on a website like the Countryside Job Service or environmentaljobs.co.uk, there you'll find examples on there more or less straight away of jobs within industry. There's plenty of sort of specialist horticulture careers websites that you can look at, but it could lead to careers within some fairly big organisations like the Wildlife Trusts, the National Trust, English Heritage. If you're looking at some of the bigger estates that have gardens to manage, plenty of jobs in the sort of the private sector as well, with private landowners who require people in the horticultural, landscaping, gardening trades. Then there's further study in sort of at higher education degree level, particularly if your interest is in the sort of the plant science, sustainability, specialist propagation, that sort of thing. There are degrees within that field, those fields, that you could go on to study. If you were successful in a you'd need to go through to a level 3 course with us to get the entry requirements for a degree, but it's certainly a route that's available, and would then lead potentially to slightly higher paying roles or roles with more of a science specialism. But yeah, I mean, the world is your oyster, really. There's lots of opportunities for self-employment, to do self-employed, landscaping, gardening, design, that sort of thing. So yeah, lots of opportunities.
And do you help with experience?
Sorry, can you just repeat that one?
Yeah, sure. Do you help in sort of finding work experience?
We can. I mean, with the numbers of students, we can't guarantee finding a placement for every single person. The onus really is on you as a student to find a place. That alone is good practice and good preparation for entering the world of work. Just as you'd apply for a job, sometimes that requires a few speculative CVs and letters to be sent out, and we would expect you as a student to do the same. Approach the garden centre, the nursery, the estate about getting a placement. Yes, if you're really struggling, we can help. We can sort of point you in the right direction, but we can't guarantee on finding every single student a work placement. You really need to be making that effort yourselves. It's part of the process. It's part of that's the rewarding, or one of the rewarding parts of that work experience process, is you have to go through the process of finding it as well as participating in it.
And are there any student success stories?
Yeah, I mean, we've had students in the past that have gone on to publish books, to write articles and what have you about on horticultural topics. Students that have gone on to do degrees, and who even while they have been studying have been very successful. A recent student who publishes a very successful blog about all sorts of sort of propagating her own varieties of plants and all sorts of things like that. So yeah, some really good success from students across the range of horticulture courses, whether that's people that have been in on RHS courses or the level 2 and 3 full-time courses.
Okay. How big classroom? How many people are in the class roughly?
So in theory classes on the horticulture course, you're probably looking at high teens, 20, something like that in a theory class. For practicals, we'll split groups up to make sure we don't have more than about a dozen in practical classes, because obviously with the handling tools, potentially using machinery, we want everyone to get there's a safety aspect of that, but also we want everybody to have a fair chance and as much opportunity and time as possible on those tools, working with that equipment, so that they can leave college being proficient, not just having done it for a few hours throughout the course of the year. So practical groups, you're looking at about a dozen in a classroom when you're doing theory work. High teens, 20, low 20, something like that.
Okay. Over 19, are there any on the course?
Sorry, I missed that. Something about over 19.
Yeah, so can I still apply for the course if I'm over 19, and are there any mature students?
Sure. So I'm assuming the question there is about a full-time level 2 or 3 course. So yes, you can apply if you're over 19. It's a slightly different sort of route when it comes to funding at that age. There's advanced advanced learner loans to look at, instead of it being sort of automatically funded as if it were an A level or any other sort of course. So you'd have to look into that, but absolutely you can apply, and yeah, certainly do apply on the RHS courses. Again, no sort of age restriction. Yeah, just apply. Won't be a problem. Whether there are already mature students signed up this year, I cannot remember off the top of my head, but typically we do get a couple each year that are yeah, that are older than 16 or 18. So.
Okay. I think that's the end of the session. If you have any further questions, I'll just pop our email and our website in the live Q&A section. We'd like to say a huge thank you to Jeff, and a thank you to everyone for joining our live Q&A today. Enjoy the rest of our virtual open evening, and we really hope to see you soon. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.